Welcome to a Victory Monday here inside the Vault. I'm Bobby Trossett. This is my co-host and business partner, Sarah Ellison. It's the 24th of November. Thanksgiving week has officially commenced. It'll be a short one for the Ravens and Bengals. They're square off inside the bank on Thanksgiving night, which is Thursday, right around the corner. So it will be a quick one, but it is a Victory Monday, and we're glad you guys are here with us, courtesy of our friends at Manta Sleep, our exclusive sponsor. If you could on the way in, please like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Sarah, you already know vibes are high when Douglas H. Brown and Eric Hill are already mixing it up in the gift giving already pre-show and many others as well. So we'll get to super chats and gifts in just a bit as always. But here's our rundown. Lamar Jackson's honest assessment of the offense is what? We'll share his words. Are the Ravens pretenders or contenders? And, Sarah, when you were gone, I started to kind of tinker with, one of these new features in the live chat, and that is in-stream polls. And you can see right now, if you'd like to be interactive with us today in the YouTube space, today's is pretty simple. What are the Ravens entering week 13? Contenders, pretenders, or do you just not have enough information prior to this closing stretch? And would you be a TBD? Right now, it's an early 48% contenders. Pretenders are 11%. A lot of you still kind of in that mixed bag, unsure category at TBD, 40%. Those poll numbers, Sarah, are flying in. So appreciate you guys for being with us today. Also, within the rundown, of course, all eyes are on Joe Burrow as he potentially prepares for his return after that early season toe procedure. So all that and more is what we have coming up. It's great to see you, partner. Happy Monday to you.
It's good to see you. Happy Monday to you. And as we knew last night, the Ravens had taken the top spot of the AFC North. What we did not know by the end of yesterday's show was that the Cleveland Browns would end up winning their game against the Las Vegas Raiders. So this is what you see on the screen. Ravens having the tiebreaker over the Steelers. They're both 6-5, but Ravens number one due to tiebreaker. And then the Bengals at 3-8. And then the Cleveland Browns tied with them at 3-8. But again, the Bengals win that tiebreaker. So what is this you got over here? The 4-1 Steelers as Dwight Schrute. Explain to me what you got going on here.
I just pulled it in on Twitter. It was making its rounds. I think like BetMGM would put it together, the collage. So I threw that in there for those of you that, enjoy what this is from The Office, right? So it's a spinoff from The Office. So maybe you guys will appreciate a little bit of humor sprinkled into your Monday. Basically, the fact that, Pittsburgh was in pole position, to use Mike Tomlin's words, a month ago, and now things have completely changed. It's anyone's division. Pittsburgh has Buffalo this upcoming weekend. The Ravens, of course, have the Bengals. And this is really, Sarah, this closing stretch resembles almost a fresh start of the season. It's 4 divisional games upcoming beginning on Thursday, and then New England and Green Bay being the 2 exceptions within those closing 6 games that are outside the division. So 2 more against Cincinnati, 2 more against Pittsburgh, and then you have the Patriots and the Packers. And for the Ravens, everything's in front of them, and they do have a chance to potentially control their own destiny. And, as you just mentioned too, maybe we should reiterate this. We discussed it at length last night. The reason why the Ravens own the tiebreaker entering week 13 is because of their perfect divisional record. So we know that they've swept the Cleveland Browns, and they've got 4 more games coming up against those 2 opponents that I just mentioned over the next month plus. So pretty darn good position, all things considered, when you think about what the state of this organization was a month plus ago.
All right, so both Dwight and Angela are smiling because Dwight sees Angela's in the way rearview mirror at 4-1 to 1-4. Then all of a sudden, Angela sneaks up at 6-5, and then Dwight, who is the Steelers, suddenly is freaked out and is like, "Where'd you come from? Where did the Ravens come from?" So we'll dive into that a little bit more. Here's the thing: for us to answer the question of if the Ravens are pretenders or contenders, what I first want to do is get an honest assessment of the offense, because boy, what a change we've had throughout this season, where it was the defense that was absolutely abysmal. People calling for Zach Orr's job. People like me saying, well, give at least the play calling duties over to Chuck Pagano. I didn't want to fire him, but maybe you could put the play calling duties elsewhere. And now here we are at the end of week 12, and it's like, dang, it's the defense that's falling out and the offense that is the word of the day, underachieving, because that is what Lamar Jackson called it in his post-game interview with CBS. He said, like, that's it. We're underachieving. He said, our defense played a great game. Special teams played a great game. Special teams really did play an awesome game. It was key to that win yesterday. And then he says, but we got to do our part. Ronnie Stanley told Jeff Zrebiec, while winning is great, to reach our goal, we need to be better. And I want to get into a little bit more of what Lamar Jackson said at the podium post-game. He was asked, why is the offense, why do you have a slower start in the first half? Like, why has that been happening? He said, we need to execute better. A lot of things, I feel. We just have to put points on the board. Our defense has played lights out for the last few weeks. We started to play well in Miami, but then he says, but within the last couple of weeks, I feel like we need to put points on the board and execute drives. Then he was asked, is it frustrating to you when the offense is not playing successfully while the defense and special teams are playing well? He said, yes. Yeah, a little bit. It's frustrating because it's our job. I'm an offensive guy. I'm not playing defense. He says it's great to see our defense playing well, but it'll also feel great and look great when we are playing as well to match their energy. We just need to do that week in and week out because those guys are stepping up. He says we on the offense need to do the same thing. So he's being as honest as he can here. It's frustrating that we're not doing our part. We did in Miami, but like, where did it go over the last few weeks? Like, it's not fun for us. Like, we love that the defense and special teams is playing well, but like, here we are. Why don't we do our part? It's never fun to not pull our weight. So I love that honest assessment from Lamar. He knows there's so much more his unit can give.
It seemed to me that Derek shared some of that frustration. He's been a little bit prickly or irritated in some of his media scrums within the last week or so. And well, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. Here is Derek last night post-game.
Of you guys on the offensive side of the ball, getting the win, but knowing that you didn't play up to you guys' capability.
I think you just answered the question. We didn't play to the way we feel like we should, and we got to be better.
That fourth down touchdown was a big kind of turning point in the game. Were you guys lobbying at all to go for it on fourth down in this situation? How big was it at that point?
We just want to give ourselves a chance to be able to go score, and glad that we executed to be able to get it in there. And we just got to be better on offense overall.
Some guys have said, you guys just not executing on offense on some of these opportunities. What do you need to do, I guess, in order to execute the way you guys want?
What do we need to do as offense?
Just to execute the way you guys want.
Play better, execute. And I don't know what else to say. We just need to play better, and everybody just do their job. All 11 takes all 11 to be able to execute. Put plays together, put drives together, and end with points.
How much of a challenge is it with Lamar not seemingly able to run the ball the way we've seen him run in the past? The read option's not been a big part of it. His design runs aren't a part of it. The defense looks like they're not have to worry about that. How does that affect their approach and the defensive approach?
My approach is the same. Is when I get the ball, try to make plays and do my job. I can't speak for El. You have to ask him that. And just what we won today. So that's a plus. But let's focus on being better.
Okay, so for those of you that are in the audio-only audience,
it's chilly in here, Bobby. It is chilly in here. That was a chilly interview.
Correct.
If looks could kill, woo!
And I will tell you, being that you were very busy in the last week or so and not as present probably in the social media sphere as you typically are in season, this is sort of multiple interviews in a row in a media scrum where Derek has seemed a little irritated. Now, in fairness, he's being asked, which is their job, very similar questions week in and week out as this offense continues to struggle. So this could very well be as simple as, I don't know what else to tell you, which is exactly kind of what he said there, paraphrasing, other than we have to execute. But what we know, Sarah, is this offense is not executing consistently enough for their standard, and that's probably how we got here. quote, what do we need to do as an offense? Play better, execute. I mean, I don't know what else to say is the direct quote. We just need to play better and everybody just do their job. It takes all 11 to be able to execute, put plays together, put drives together, and get more points. So again, for the audio-only audience, you didn't see the body language on that one. It was not particularly pretty from Derrick Henry last night.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're right. I was out last week, so I didn't know that this was like a kind of a pattern, at least over the last week or whatnot. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, there's frustration written all over his face, and I guarantee he's not thinking about how he was rising up the Hall of Fame or like the all-time rushing list yesterday, which he was. I think he just leapfrogged three guys on the all-time rushing list, and is now at number 11 or 12, something like that. So yeah, he's not thinking about that. He's not thinking about the 2 touchdowns that he scored, because that was pretty nice too. But they know it. They know that they're not playing up to standard. And Bobby, I feel like just like with most things, it's like a combination of factors that are kind of leading into it. I think first and foremost, let's just start on the top and work our way down. Like, do I think that Todd Monken can be more imaginative, especially while it looks like Lamar Jackson is hampered? They're not able to run those read options. Lamar doesn't look like a major threat to run like he usually is. And by the way, he can. I mean, do we need to remind us? Let me just see if I can keep this to a small window so we can, hopefully, like, look at this in week 1. Look at this in week 1. Look at Lamar, like, escaping 2 sackers and then running up the field. I mean, that's the Lamar we know. Look at that. Like, he just looked, that's like the Lamar we know. And he did not run like that yesterday, even when he did actually take off and run. Like, Lamar is still, when healthy, doing a great job. And here's another reason why I feel like that he's hurt, because he actually did throw from a pretty clean pocket yesterday. PFF, according to Spencer here, Schultz, Lamar was kept clean on 72.4% of his dropbacks yesterday. This does not, just because they played well yesterday and keeping a mostly clean pocket 72.4% of the time, he was pressured eight times on 29 dropbacks, only 1 completed pass when he's pressured. Lamar last year was phenomenal with pressure in his face. Absolutely phenomenal. A couple weeks ago, he laughed in the face of reporters being like, what if Brian Flores and the Vikings come after you again? And he laughs. He's like, okay, let's see what happens. Like, he's fine against that stuff. He's clearly injured. So with him being injured and not being 100%, you got to start at the top. Is Todd Monken too predictable? I think sometimes he is. Sometimes he's not. Like the fake tush push hurricane, that was great. And I don't know if that was all Todd Monken. John Harbaugh said there were many fathers who deserve credit of that play. And so, but Todd needs to be more creative if Lamar is hampered. Then Lamar will, I have no doubt, if Lamar gets healthier, he will play better. When he's healthy, he's always in MVP conversations. Always plays at an MVP level when he's healthy. I have no doubt he would return to that once he gets healthy. Then obviously we know what's going on in the run game, especially in the interior part of the offensive line. There's just not enough push. And so when they talk about we just need to execute better, it's like all those things have to fall into place. But the biggest one of all, in my view, is Lamar Jackson. Like, if he can play better, if he's healthier, and maybe this upcoming 10-day break will help him do that, there's no doubt in my mind that this offense will stop underachieving. Yes, the offensive line will still have its issues. Yes, Todd Monken will still need to be creative. But if Lamar Jackson is healthy, this offense will stop underachieving and it will meet its expectations.
Former Raven Brandon Stevens was asked and talked about this very topic, Lamar's health, last night in the Jets post-game media scrum.
What Lamar's done throughout his career, you've probably seen firsthand what he's done throughout his career. You guys made him look pedestrian. What were you doing to kind of complicate things for their offense, specifically for him?
Yeah, I think we just had a great game plan as far as just limiting him in the run game and in explosives. And so I think up front they did a good job with that. But yeah.
He's been battling some stuff this year, like random injury, the hamstring injury, and I think a foot or ankle he was on the injury report with this week. Did you notice that? Like, could you tell that maybe he wasn't the Lamar that people are used to seeing?
To be honest, no. I didn't see him, acting like, as if he was hurt. You know what I mean? I think we just had a great game plan as far as keeping him in the pocket and, limiting his running ability.
I like Brandon. He's a good dude, and best wishes for him. First of all, the reporter said that the Jets made Lamar look pedestrian, and then Brandon essentially, complimented his own defense's game plan, which you're supposed to do, and I get it. Like, he has an obligation to the guys that he suits up with and his defensive coordinator and the Jets' whole defensive staff. It wasn't what the Jets did to Lamar yesterday. No. It was what the current state of Lamar is, which is what you've already, with all due respect to their group, prior to the fire sale, they should have been one of the top defenses in the entire league, and maybe early on until things started, the wheels started falling off. But this was all about what Lamar's current state is, not what the Jets game planned and successfully were able to do. This was about an unwillingness, or really the lack of ability right now due to some of the physical setbacks that Lamar's dealing with. And you just brought up the highlight from week 1, which feels like it feels like years ago, based on Lamar's immobility right now. And so to your point, it really starts and ends there. Now, you can have a conversation about why he ended up getting banged up multiple times so far this year, with at least 3 publicly known ailments. And what I mean by that is the hamstring, the knee that popped up after the Vikings week, and the ankle that popped up last week, which is what we discussed last night. And so from there, it's like, okay, well, the trickle-down effect, to use words that we've both used in recent weeks, it begins. It affects Todd Monken's play calling. It affects the red zone game. It affects chunk yardage that he clearly was not able to go and pursue yesterday. And all of a sudden, it kind of makes your offense one-dimensional in a sense. And when you don't have the likes of Rashad Bateman, who is always a threat and a target in the red zone, and you aren't consistently running the football effectively, and you have guys that are uncharacteristically dropping footballs, and in Mark Andrews' case yesterday, dropping touchdowns, that cumulative effect starts to kind of add up a little bit. And so all of a sudden it becomes this perfect storm, which is, I think, this trend that we're continuing to follow with the state of the offense.
Yeah. So am I going to believe my Brandon Stevens, who wants credit for the Jets making Lamar look like not Lamar? Or like, do I believe my lying eyes? Like, I can see, I just pulled up that clip and I saw Lamar yesterday. I think I'm going to believe my eyes. And like what's really going on. Brandon Stevens had a pretty good game yesterday, by the way. But it's definitely, he's definitely not himself. And like, Lamar can deny it, as he should. John Harbaugh can be vague about it, as he should, for his gamemanship. Brandon Stevens can deny it, as he should, because he wants to get credit when the Jets defense. But I'm going to believe my eyes. I'm going to believe my eyes and what I see on tape. So, Bobby, that brings us to the question at hand that's in the live chat, the poll. This morning, or maybe late last night, Kyle Goon of Baltimore Banner, he put up his column. And he said there's no doubt that the Ravens have taken care of business in their 5-game winning streak to get back atop the AFC North, but they just don't look like a contender. With the Bengals and Steelers coming up, the Ravens still have to raise their level. Lindsay Oke, a fun follow on Twitter, she asks, are the Ravens on fraud watch? So that brings it to us. We need to answer the question. Do we feel like after week 12, heading into this Thanksgiving game, are the Ravens contenders or pretenders? And let me put it this way. We'll have 2 definitions of contenders. I want you to answer, are they playoff contenders? And then what people mean about contenders is Super Bowl contenders. And I'm sure that's the way people have been voting in the poll. But real quick, do you feel like the Ravens are legit playoff contenders?
Sure.
That's easy, right? I think that they will win the AFC North. I think they're making the playoffs. So beyond that, once they hit the playoffs, my prediction, you feel like they contend for it. Are they Super Bowl contenders? What say you? How would you vote in the poll?
No, not Super Bowl contenders. As of entering week 13, I can't say that, no.
But what's your prediction going forward? Do you think that they Like, obviously the way the offense looked yesterday, they're not Super Bowl contenders, but that's again easy to say. We all watched the offense yesterday. That's easy to say. Like, do you think they will ultimately they have the potential to be Super Bowl contenders?
I can't confidently say that because I don't know if this is something that Lamar can overcome physically in season. I don't know if a mini bye week, should you rip off 6 in a row and get to 7-5 and potentially be in sole possession of first place of the AFC North after it's all said and done, if Buffalo beats Pittsburgh. I don't know if that's enough to be like Lamar is going to poof, magically come back and be what he was prior to the hamstring, the ankle, the knee in 10 days time, starting after Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And it all right. We just spent the first 20 minutes of this episode, to use your words or paraphrase your words. If Lamar is healthy, then you're always going to say there's a chance, but he's not right now. It's pretty obvious. And so I can't sit here and tell you that they're legitimate contenders if that's the case.
Yeah. So I think the way you decide whether you're contenders is both. You have to look at how the Ravens are performing, but you also have to look at how the field is performing, right? And so based off of what I'm seeing in the AFC, I feel like the Ravens are just as much contenders as anybody else. Like, everybody has their flaws. Kansas City and the Ravens are playing very similar seasons where they've been underperforming but are suddenly surging, right? And so, but are the Kansas City Chiefs the threats that they have been in the past? No. Are the Buffalo Bills the threat that I've seen them in the past? No, I don't feel like they are. Are the New England Patriots playing well? Yes, they are. But do I feel like they're like a juggernaut that like are in the Tom Brady days and that they can't be taken down? No. Do I feel that way about the Indianapolis Colts? No. Denver Broncos? No. So when you look at the field, for sure, their offenses are at times playing better than the Ravens' offenses. But when you look at the field, to me, it's like, why not? You know what I mean? Why not? But to your point, Lamar Jackson's health is everything in this. Here is what is crazy, and that we have to remember. We have dreamed in the entire Lamar Jackson era for days like we're having, where Lamar is not playing his best, but the rest of the team is picking up the slack. And so the way special teams played yesterday, the way the defense has been playing for 6 games, the way they've had his back, and I'm just throwing out a percentage. Say like he's 70% Lamar. Say like he's 70%. 70% Lamar with the way the rest of the team. That doesn't mean the team doesn't have flaws. The Ravens need more of a pass rush. The Ravens need better interior offensive line play for sure. But every team has their flaws. Every team. And so we have dreamed for days like this in the entire Lamar Jackson era where he wouldn't have to be Superman and they could still win games. Their winning streak of 6 games is without Lamar playing at an MVP level. What's that? 5 games.
5-game win streak.
I'm obviously already into Thanksgiving thinking the Ravens are going to win. But we've dreamed of this. So you're telling me if Lamar Jackson gets healthy, and again, we have no control over that. But if he does, he has a team that has his back right now. And we've always wanted that. So if Lamar gets healthy, absolutely they're contenders with the field that it is, with the defense playing the way it is. And I get it. We just played the Jets and we just played the Browns. But what has the Chicago Bears been doing? What has the LA Rams been doing? And they held both those teams under 20 points. It's not just the defense playing well against the Jets offense or the Browns offense. Like, they were playing well against other offenses that are putting up 30+ points. And so Lamar gets healthy, and I have no control over that. How do you predict that? I don't know. But he gets healthy, of course, with this field, and of course, the way the special teams and defense is playing, they are contenders.
The AFC,
I have that much faith in Lamar. If he's healthy, of course, it's going to flip the offense.
Yeah. At times with him healthy this year, this offense has had flaws. and has not looked like the offenses of the past.
Sure, they've had flaws, but they were putting up 30, 40 points when he was healthy.
Early on.
Yeah, and it was the defense that was the demise.
Early on.
Yeah.
Very.
He led the NFL in touchdown passes before he got injured.
I'm aware. Yep.
Yeah.
And
since he's been back, he hasn't been healthy.
Correct. I want to be on board with you about the AFC and it being wide open, because it is. But in terms of the why not that you're proposing, that mentality for the Ravens, I think I need to see this new, fresh beginning of a season within the season start to take shape a little bit before I can fully dive in with you on that in that regard. Because to me, this is the official commencing and the end of the favorable stretch that, yes, given the parity, right, there are good wins within that favorable stretch, knowing that Miami beat Buffalo, Cleveland beat Green Bay. Like, there's a ton of balance in the league this year, so I recognize that. I really want to see how they handle AFC North play that's backloaded and backed with short weeks and 2 games in 3 weeks against the Cincinnati team that's going to be playing with absolutely nothing to lose and likely Joe Burrow with them. Pittsburgh with a flip of the coin, the Green Bays, the New Englands. I just am not quite there yet. But I hear what you're saying, given the state of the conference, which is quite literally wide open. And as we discussed on my channel last night, which is sort of along the lines of what we just spent the first 30 minutes of this show being, maybe, just maybe, this is the year where there really isn't one specific good team or one specific legitimate contender in the AFC. And if that's the case, it's going to bode well for the Ravens for sure.
Final look at the poll. Contenders are winning at 41%. The TBD, which I assume that's where you're at, the TBD is at 40%, and pretenders are at 19%.
Thanks for participating, guys. 450 votes in 27 minutes. So good stuff. We'll leave that poll up if you guys would like to continue to participate in it. And let's rip through some super chats, a read, and then get on to what Emanuel Acho tweeted yesterday that we're going to have a little bit of fun with. Linda is celebrating 5 months. Thanks for being here with us, Linda. She writes, happy Victory Monday. Can't wait to go home to Baltimore for Thanksgiving and go to the game. Safe travels, Linda. And as promised, Douglas H. Brown Sr. is here with a 20 spot on a Monday.
Says another day in the field, so I will miss the live show, but I wanted you and the family to feel my love, enjoy, and believe. Believe, Bobby.
DHB Senior, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, brother. Thank you for the 5 spot as well. That means 5 new Voltrons have just become official channel members. And right on cue, here comes Eric Hill, and he writes, in case no one tells you that they love you, just know that I do. I hope everyone's doing well on this Victory Monday. Be grateful and thankful for your blessings. Hashtag stop the 22. Hashtag I still believe in LJ8. And Afia's with us celebrating 3 months.
She says, whoop, whoop. That's my interpretation of it anyway. Whoop, whoop. It's been nice converse among fellow Ravens fans and non-fans, LOL. Just happy to be here. Happy Victory Monday. Same to you.
And of course, the handles, as we learned last night, switched back to whatever happened on the back end of YouTube. So hopefully that'll switch back at some point, because I don't know what some of these names are. Is it Yi Yong Jay? Do you think the offense's slow starts are linked to Lamar missing practices? I think it's more about just his overall health right now. Dreams is here.
D-Hen only had 871 rushing yards 12 weeks in. Let that sink in.
Far cry from last year. Ocean 08 says last 3 years, offense went in the playoffs as the best, went into the playoffs as the best group. The offense will wake up at some point. So let's do the opposite and go into the playoffs being undervalued. Garrett Family Aquatics is with us today.
Says, can we give Harbaugh and ZO their deserved credit now? Everyone, myself included, called for their jobs, but they have righted the ship. There's going to be a lot of people that say, no, we will not give them their credit. This is exactly what people don't want to. Those that have been over Harbaugh for like years are like, no, don't make the playoffs, because they'll use it as an excuse to keep them.
You know what?
Yes,
I'd be more
I give them their credit.
Garrett Family. Yeah, you do. We do. This season could have gone south quickly, obviously. But Garrett Family, I'd be more comfortable to evaluate both of those guys and the entire team as a whole after the 17-game sample size, because there's already been multiple seasons within a season. They've withstood a lot of blowback and they've looked adversity in the eye and somehow kept this thing afloat. So you got to give them their due and their flowers over the last month plus for keeping the ship, above water. But I'd like to see it from a more collective sample size come January. Captain writes, I don't think it's Lamar's injuries. In Miami, the Miami game, he didn't run at all, but the game plan and plays were great. Since then, the offense and scheme has been bad. Rev None Wisdom is here.
I think it's both for sure. He says, I'm encouraged that the Ravens are winning without the offense playing lights out. Give them space to peak when it matters. The playoffs. Good teams win ugly games too. Glass half full.
Laura is here celebrating 8 months. Been with us all that time. Happy Thanksgiving. May Lamar get through this game so we can heal and our team get healthy and ready for the home stretch. Thanks, Laura. Liv B is celebrating 6 months.
Realistically, the question of contenders or no won't really be able to be answered until we see where we are in December, January. Injuries have plagued us.
And No Muck You says, got to side with our resident optimist, Sarah, on Lamar, I would assume, or maybe just related to our whole debate to start off to today's show. Appreciate you guys for being with us on this Monday. Ravens improved to 6-5. They've ripped off 5 straight, and it's a short week with, of course, the Cincinnati Bengals in Baltimore, a Thanksgiving night game awaiting just a few days from right now. We want to say thanks to Manta Sleep for the continued support. They are this episode's sponsor and our exclusive sponsor of our post-game shows all season long. And these sleep masks, as we get ready for the holiday season, are great gifts. They give you true 100% blackout for deeper sleep. You've got C-shaped eye cups for unbeatable side sleep comfort. 0 pressures applied to your eyelids or lashes. Advanced materials and ventilation built in for unmatched breathability. You see all the different options that are here. You toggle over them, and it's pretty simple. All of it is broken down, detail by detail. And you already know that both the Ellison and Trossett families swear by these things to enhance our sleep. But it's far from the only thing that mantasleep.com offers. Sleep earplugs, white noise machines, add-ons, bundles, which are great holiday gifts. Perhaps even some stocking options as well if you go with the earplugs. So yeah, partner, holiday season pretty much here. Crazy.
It snuck up on me, Bobby. It snuck up on me, and luckily Manta Sleep is here to help because I'm gonna have to get some things for some people that I was like, yeah, Manta Sleep, this will help out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks to Manta. Appreciate you guys as always for the support, and thanks to all of you guys for being here today. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member. And I hand the baton off to Sarah for our next topic.
All right. Well, we're going to kind of look around the AFC North and the quarterback situations because really all 4 teams are dealing with quarterback injuries. At some guys going out, some guys coming back, all that kind of stuff. But we just spoke about Lamar. So the angle that we're going to take on the Lamar side with the Ravens is I didn't like this switch up from Emanuel Acho because those that have been loyal listeners for some time know that we had Emanuel Acho on, and I do appreciate him that he was willing to come into the Lion's Den. And I presented it to him that I wanted to debate him on his MVP voting last year, and he would not budge. Okay, even though he admitted to us here inside the vault, yes, Lamar Jackson was the best quarterback last year, but some mumbo jumbo about he wasn't going to vote for him for MVP because he had the better team. Check out this switch up. This switch up just a few months later is an all-time switch up that I am rejecting. I don't want it. Get it out of here. Knock it out. Mutombo finger, all of it. So Bleacher Report tweets last night. On October 12th, Ravens fell to 1-5 on the season. We know that. November 23rd, yesterday, Ravens are 6-5 and sit atop the AFC North. It's kind of crazy. We know that. We've talked about it. They've been on a 5-game winning streak. Emanuel Acho, this guy of all people, quote retweets that and says, give Lamar Jackson part ownership of the franchise at this point. It's nothing without him. Bro, this is probably true. The Ravens are nothing without Lamar. That's what we were trying to tell you last year, and you wouldn't listen. All this mumbo jumbo about Lamar's benefiting from Derrick Henry, and I'm sure he did a little, but with Lamar not healthy right now, how's Derrick Henry doing? He wasn't having a career year like he was yesterday. Like, why couldn't we see, Emanuel, that Lamar was benefiting Derek more than he was benefiting Lamar? And by the way,
sorry to interrupt. I want to make sure you get polished here just on one small thing. Career year was last year, not yesterday. Just want to make sure you're
thank you.
You're
Career
understood.
year last year. And so it's insane to me that like and I was sending him the info all year, and he was interacting with me. He was interacting all year on Twitter, and it came all the way up to the point where he came on the show. And he admitted that Lamar was the best, but he stole it from him, because this statement that the Ravens are dead in the water without Lamar, that's been true since he became the starter in 2018. And last year it was just as true. It was just as true. And here's what's funny is now he's saying it, but he's saying it at the wrong time, because the Ravens changed from 1-5 to 6-5 is less about Lamar and more about the defense, because Lamar and the Ravens were putting up 40 points against the Bills, 35 plus points, 30 points. Like this 6-5 stretch, it started with Tyler Huntley winning the first game or leading the team to a win against the Chicago Bears. That's where it started. Lamar had a great game against Miami, but the Ravens have not been scoring a ton. Lamar himself just said they're underachieving. Lamar himself just said within the last couple weeks that he's frustrated with the offense and they're not pulling their end of the bargain. So for Emanuel to like use this right now and say the franchise was nothing without Lamar. Yeah, it's true, but that's not Lamar is not the reason that they've gone from 1-5 to 6-5. It's more that the defense has been better, because when Lamar plays, the Ravens are always in contention. Always. Like if Lamar's playing, the Ravens more often than not are going to win. So that's always been true, but it's the defense that turned it around. The defense. So I just reject it. Take your switch up and go back. Go back to the days and the preaching that you had last year, because we already knew this, but you wouldn't be convinced of it last year. Your heels were dug in, your heart was hard, and your brain was closed, your like mind was closed off to any other point of view.
Your heart was hard. Speaking of the defense, this is a group that has allowed less than 20 points in 6 straight games. That's the longest streak in the NFL so far in 2025. They're getting more pressure than they did prior to the deadline, a lot of which is due to Draymond Jones. I think he's been a really positive addition for them. And when you couple that with Mike Green starting to stack, he led the team with 5 pressures, looks very comfortable out there, continuing to display his unrelenting motor and God-gifted athleticism. He and Draymond, Sarah, covered, and I should say combined, for 9 total defensive pressures yesterday. Kyle Van Noy had 3, and Trenton Simpson, who continues to be a third down specialist and a small sample size guy, he had 2, and he followed up a great game in Cleveland, albeit, only like 5 or 6 total snaps, I want to say, that he recorded. So good stuff there. As you look at the AFC North on a short week, we kind of continue the conversation when it comes to the quarterback stories. And Joe Burrow, obviously, this week and this Thursday night Thanksgiving showdown really hinges on his availability here. Joe Flacco's been starting in place of Joe for weeks now since Cleveland traded him. And you brought in the latest that Mike Florio had on Pro Football Talk as of this morning.
Yeah, Mike Florio was talking to his own sources. He had a headline this morning on Pro Football Talk that's entitled "Joe Burrow's status for Thursday night is, quote, TBD." So he's talking to his sources. This is his story. He says, at one point last week, the signs were pointing toward Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow returning for Sunday's game against the Patriots. After 2 straight days of full participation practices, something changed. By Friday, Joe Flacco got the starter reps in order to get him ready for the Week 12 contest with New England. Burrow ultimately wasn't activated from injured reserve. One theory was that with 2 games, only 4 days apart, the Bengals decided to wait until Thanksgiving night for Burrow's return. That said, it's still not certain Burrow will play when the Bengals travel to Baltimore for the Thursday night game. Per a source with knowledge of the situation, quote, nothing is set in stone, close quote. Burrow's status for the Week 13 game is TBD based on how his body responds after recent and upcoming practice time. Burrow, quote, wants to play, but there's a bigger consideration at play. At 3-8, the Bengals are facing a very small chance of making it to the postseason. If there's a significant risk of re-injuring torn toe ligaments that required surgery after a Week 2 injury, is the reward worth it? I think.
Well, 9-8 can get you in as a wild card team. So if they rip off the next 6 games, or what, they're 3-8 right now. So yeah, so they've played 11, 6 more to get to 17, gets you to 9-8, and that probably is good enough to at least have a conversation for a wild card slot. So I guess that's what the best ceiling would be, or the reward, right? A chance to make it and punch your ticket to the postseason. But you got to go 6-0 down the stretch. And with that defense, as Joe Flacco has learned over the last month, easier said than done.
I'm operating that he's going to play. I could be wrong. Like they said, like his body could respond a certain way. Maybe somebody higher up will be like, okay, yeah, you're healthy, but I don't care because we're not making the playoffs anyway. But like, competitors want to compete. It's said in there that he wants to play. He's been back to practice. Like, he was a full participant. I'm operating under the idea that he's playing.
I would agree.
Now, do I think it'll be interesting because Jamar Chase will be back from suspension, correct? He'll be back for Thursday night's game. He missed last week's. There is the matter of Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins. This morning, Adam Schefter tweeted that he is currently in concussion protocol. It's going to be tough to be cleared in 5 days from yesterday, 4 days time. So I think that either Joe Flacco would miss T. Higgins, so would Joe Burrow coming back from injury. So I still think that they'll be able to put up points and whatnot, but I think the Ravens are obviously in a position where they should prepare for Joe Burrow. They know Joe Flacco like the back of their hand. They can always be ready for that. But it will hurt them without T. Higgins, I do believe. I do think that will hurt them if he can't be back in time.
Ravens are going to attempt to back-to-back sweep in terms of the regular season series the Cincinnati Bengals, as they did last year. Y'all remember this one, the second time that they played. The Ravens were facing a 21-7 deficit and ended up winning that game in barn-burning fashion, 35-34, just stunning Cincinnati. Both games were absurd. They were high-scoring affairs. I know in one of them, Joe Burrow threw that pick to Marlon Humphrey that ended up sealing the deal for the Ravens. I think that was 42-38. Am I remembering that correctly? Bottom line is these were really, really high-flying games, and you get the sense that with both of these actually, I was going to say the Ravens offense isn't exactly in a state right now where they're capable or consistently putting up 30+ as they were earlier on in the season. But this is the Thanksgiving slate. The Ravens will be the third and final game in the standalone fashion on Thursday night. The other two, Packers and Lions, of course, it's a classic, and the Chiefs and Cowboys will be the middle game there between the Ravens and Bengals. And then, of course, the day kick starts with what I just mentioned, Packers and Lions. So I guess as we look at the AFC North, you've got Joe Burrow trying to rush back to be available for Thursday night. You got Lamar far from 100%, nursing what we think is a number of ailments. The most recent is the ankle. Prior to that, it was the knee, and we know that he was sidelined for multiple weeks.
Before you move on to Bengals, can I just do one, or excuse me, before you move on to Browns, I just wanted to play a video clip from Joe Flacco when he was asked yesterday about Joe Burrow returning, and if that was like potentially his last game being played. That Joe gave a good answer.
Competitor, you always want to be out there on the field. I mean, this is what I live to do, is go out in that field and play football. But at the same time, I feel really fortunate to have kind of found myself in this situation. As much as I would have loved to see us win games, I still have had a lot of fun here with these guys in the locker room, going out, lacing them up with these guys has been a lot of fun. And I've felt right at home and have had a blast doing it. And I don't think I really am looking anything past that. You know, I get it. I get how certain feelings could be involved with this, but in this case, it's easy for me to kind of put those aside and just look at the positives of the whole thing, and and be excited for another teammate trying to work his way back. So it might sound like crap and like I'm lying, and yeah, there is a tough part of not being out there. There always is. But I feel like I've put my head down and worked hard the last however long it's been, and I've had a lot of fun with these guys, and it's always I don't know, it's just always I don't know, I keep saying fun, but I want to say something else. But when you're in there with guys and you make relationships with them and you're out there battling on the field with them and you can look each other in the eyes and know that you've been doing that the right way, then you really can't worry about the other things.
He doesn't sound like the guy that's going to be playing on Thursday, but Joe's career since he left the Ravens has been like this roller coaster, and he, nobody expected so many different twists and turns. So, but I appreciate that, he wants to compete. Two things can be true at once, but he's also excited for his teammate in Joe Burrow trying to come back. So, it will be interesting if that was Joe Flacco's last career game, because if Joe Burrow does return, will he be signed again after this year? It just seems like, what is he 41 yet? Can't remember when he
Joe's
turns
40, 41, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on in Cincinnati. Love that clip. And then meanwhile in Cleveland, Dylan Gabriel was still in concussion protocol, so that opened up the door for Shedeur. We just saw some of him. The Ravens just saw some of him a week ago in the second half in Cleveland. Ravens, did what they were supposed to do against a rookie that was thrown into really a very difficult spot, cold, in the second half. But after a week of first-team reps and after a week of game planning for a Vegas team that's going nowhere fast, Shedeur Sanders and company got his first career start, first career win. So good for him. Man, what heck of the highlight throw was to Isaiah Bond for 60 plus or 50. I think it was a 52-yard completion. He was flush from the pocket and threw a dime to Isaiah Bond. That was definitely the highlight of it. If you're looking for the true highlight of from a historical standpoint, it's what this defense is doing. Myles Garrett had a 3-sack day, Sarah, followed up his 4-sack day from the week prior against the Ravens, and now has a whopping 18 on the year. He's got 18 before Thanksgiving, and he is breathing down the all-time single-season record of 22.5, or is it 22 flat? It's one of the two. Right now, as a team, the Panthers have 16 sacks. The Bengals have 15. And the 49ers, these are, again, team sacks, 12. Myles Garrett has 18 individually. Absurd stuff. And you see where he's stacking up right now, historically. Over his last 4 games, the guy's put together an all-pro year. He's got 13 sacks over the last 4 games. That's more than any other NFL player has had over a 5-game span since sacks were officially tracked for defenders in 1982. That's according to OptaStats. So, yeah, the most sacks in a team's first 11 games in a season in NFL history. Maybe this makes you feel a little bit better about the performance that Ronnie Stanley put forth last week, a lot of which was lined up over Myles. He is an all-time great, unfortunately, on an all-time bad team for years running now. You just don't get to see him enough in primetime games or compete for championships, which is a darn shame. But as we discussed in recent weeks, he made that decision.
He's so good. He's so good. And I got to tell you, I'm glad he didn't force himself out of Cleveland to go to a real contender. It stinks that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson and Ronnie Stanley have to see him twice a year, but I would hate for him to be on a contender. Oh, I would hate that. And look what happened. Shedeur and Myles Garrett, after they came to town, embarrassed the Raiders. this morning, Adam Schefter, sources, Chip Kelly is out as the Raiders offensive coordinator. So they are moving on from him. And here is Shedeur Sanders' reaction after getting his first win.
Crazy. It's amazing, you know, off of 1 week of practice, you know what I mean? This 1 week of practice. So imagine, you know, what a full offseason look like. It get dangerous, but it's just a 1 week of practice. So I'm just truly thankful, you know, that everything happened.
He's plugging himself here. Hey, Coach Stefanski, can you see I led us to a win with 1 week of practice? Can you give me more? Now, look, is he like getting a little out of himself? I mean, he was 11 of 20, 209 yards, 55% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, an 87.3 quarterback rating. So, you know, but there's some truth to what he said, right? With experience, you get better. And one thing about Shedeur and really Dion, his dad, the Sanders family, like whether they're winning or losing, they're always going to have confidence, always. And so I feel like he's just making a play to his boss saying, hey, keep me in, even if Dylan Gabriel is healthy this week.
Kevin Stefanski was non-committal on his overall plan there. So they'll have to wait and see. Dylan, as you look at it from like a high level, not that we're watching the Browns on a weekly basis, but based on what we had to watch last week in Cleveland, Shedeur gave a spark to Cleveland's offense that I don't think Dylan has been able to do. They're pushing the ball downfield. He manages the game. Yes, that interception was piss poor yesterday, but again, he makes up for it with some of the vertical passing game. And it seems as if Tommy Rees can kind of open up and lengthen the playbook a little bit more so when Shedeur's under center versus what Dylan Gabriel has done for them. So, hey, it's good for him, you know, good for him. We'll see what they choose to do. I mean, you got to get a feel for both of these guys before you go back and inevitably get back into the quarterback market for the 2026 draft class. So you might as well keep playing Shedeur. Why wouldn't you? You already have a hefty sample size of Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? So
why not?
And as far as Vegas is concerned, another player that is going nowhere fast with a team that he's been, extremely loyal to, but Max Crosby. You just, from a football fan standpoint, a game of like the business of football, you just wish that a guy like Myles Garrett and a guy like Max Crosby could actually be on relevant teams that are competing for championships. That's not been the case throughout the majority of their respective careers. So that is a look at the current AFC North, which the Ravens find themselves atop at 6-5. Yes, they're interlocked record-wise with Pittsburgh, but as we've discussed a couple times now, based on divisional play, Ravens have the upper hand going into Week 13.
Why don't we get to a few more Super Chats? We'll do some quick hits.
Okay. Let's see. We left off with No Muck You. So Rave is here, and he says, a while ago I asked, Rave and I had a big argument last night. A while ago I asked, is John's ego bigger than wins? If everyone wants to believe Ben, I just think, and I love Rave, but I told him this last night, this is the most tired argument when it comes to Ben Cleveland. Rave, I love you. You're hilarious. This is such a tired argument, but I'll read the rest of your super chat. A while ago, I asked if John's ego is bigger than wins. If everyone wants to believe Ben is not better than Fa'alele, okay. So we all believe Emery is better than Fa'alele. Emery was active and did not play one snap, which is true. He was active for the first time, Sarah, as we discussed on the postgame show last night. Hopefully that means they'll give him a chance at some point soon. That was not the case yesterday. And so Ben Cleveland was a healthy scratch, and Rave is distraught over that.
Yeah, and I would just say this, like, I think that it could be said that John Harbaugh holds on to people and maybe gives a longer leash than he should, some of the guys that he believes in. I think that could be true. But ego, no. And over winning, no. You do not know John Harbaugh. You do not know John Harbaugh if you don't think the thing he wants most in life, the thing that he like craves most in life is to like win. He wants to win as much as he wants to breathe. He wants to win as much as he wants water. Like, does that mean that he makes all the correct decisions? No. Would I like to see another person get in there over Fa'alele? Yes. But I think that you have a misread on who John Harbaugh is.
Cole just tallied up the pressures. Fa'alele did lead the way with 2 yesterday. Rosengarten, Voorhees, and Ronnie each had 1. Linderbaum had no pressures. This is all PFF, not the be-all, end-all, but something that's obviously universally within the NFL coverage community respected, owned by Chris Collinsworth. Linderbaum has allowed 5 pressures since the bye week, so that's going back to what? Week 7? Week 6, I think, was against the Rams. So week 7 was the bye. So he's had 2 no pressure games, meaning he's had 2 games where he hasn't allowed a pressure, and he's had just 5 since the bye. So he's had some struggles in some of the run game, and perhaps that's a direct result of who's to his right and left. But in terms of pressure count, he's been pretty darn good since the bye. And by the way, and I don't remember who had it. Okay, here's some Joe Burrow news from Zach Taylor. Yeah, okay. He's just going to keep it buttoned up as much as he can. So Zach Taylor told reporters that he anticipates Joe playing, but there's no official determination. Actually, he's not keeping it buttoned up. He's
not. Mike Garafolo, same thing. From Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow is expected to play Thursday for the Bengals. Wide receiver T. Higgins and defensive Trey Hendrickson are out.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's 3 big pieces of news.
Ooh, man.
So no Higgins, no Hendrickson, yes to Burrow.
Interesting.
You mean Lamar might have a lot of time in the pocket? Because the Bengals, even with Hendrickson, aren't getting a ton of things going on defense.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a big deal. Huge deal. So Joe Burrow, yeah. All right, there you go. That's the trio piece of news coming out. There you go. That's the latest from a Cincinnati perspective. We left off with Rave, right? So Ocean08 says the Bengals are dumb if they play him, meaning Joe, with his injury. And MDaddy006 is for you.
Says, what's up, guys? Can you all talk about Monken's inconsistencies and predictability a little bit more? Yeah, I do. I feel like he's predictable. Like some of his personnel packages kind of give keys to the opposing defenses. Inconsistencies, like I saw, who put up this tweet yesterday about how many times they were like inside the 5-yard line and didn't have Pat Ricard out there to help block and help pave the way when they were running. Just a lot of stuff that you're like, okay, I've seen that before. Okay, I've seen that before. Okay, I've seen that before. And again, maybe he's hampered in what he can do with Lamar's health. But he's got to, there's plenty of people that don't have a Lamar Jackson. There are plenty of people who don't have that. And so he's got to find, just like on defense, they had a way to manufacture pressures, and they had to I do appreciate that he's like sticking with Derrick Henry. Like before, he used to abandon all that. So I appreciate that, but you can still be more creative. I like that he's sticking with them, even though, he's not like getting these 20-yard chunks or even 10-yard chunks very often. But it just feels predictable to me. Like when they go out and I'm like, okay, I feel like I know what they're doing right here.
It's kind of what I was mentioning earlier on with like the state of Lamar's immobility. It does handcuff Todd a little bit. Designed runs are down considerably from past years.
Mm-hmm.
In Femi's audio message to us this morning, he mentioned the lack of zone reads. I mean, there's a direct correlation, as you were just kind of alluding to. But that doesn't fully absolve Todd of his his role.
And there is a part of me that wonders if he's not like pulling out tons of stuff in the playbook, given who the opponents have been and know it's coming up. I mean, I would like to think that. I would love to think that, just because I do remember him leaning much more into the zone reads when they played Pittsburgh. I'm like, where's this been? Like, why haven't we been using this, And but even with Lamar healthy, he wasn't using it that much up until that Pittsburgh game. And so I don't know. I would love to hope. I really hope that he just hasn't been pulling a lot out because he realizes like they haven't needed, just like Lamar hasn't needed to be Superman. Maybe he hasn't needed to pull out his Superman playbook. Please let that be the case, because it has been very predictable.
And one more super chat here before we get to quick hits and other. Oh, this is classic. You always loved it. And Rave, man, of course this comes. Rave is stooping low on this one. Rave says you owe Shador an apology, Bobby. For what? For what? sharing the pre-draft process from credible reports talking about that. What was it?
Oh, I don't know, but I don't know. We
What's
disagreed
the
on that.
apology?
We disagreed on that back in
What?
the day. We don't need to relitigate
About
that.
about the whole Ravens decision on the draft?
No, before that, even before we knew that the Ravens were looking to draft him, like during the pre-draft process, whatever. We don't need to relitigate. You shared the reports, yes, but like, it's fair to say I believed in Shador more than you did, correct? From even the during the pre-draft process, and during the draft, I was like, I would love to draft him, and you were like, no, based off the reports, yeah, whatever,
yeah.
Not everybody needs to believe in everybody.
And hey, now he's going to have a chance to prove. I guess I don't even know what I was arguing, other than I didn't think that it was the best move ever for the Ravens to bring him in, but. Hey, he's going to have a chance to go, and now they're going. Here comes the mob in the live chat. Time to move on. This is just ridiculous.
Yeah. No need to relitigate it.
You know, Rave, this is what I was referencing earlier on a couple minutes ago related to the pressure count that Coach Evans tallied up. And Mike Green and Draymond Jones combined for 9 total pressures. So good for them. Kyle Van Noy had 3 of his own. Trenton Simpson had 2. Ajabo was recorded for 1. Roquan, Taven Bryan, Alohi Gilman, and John Jenkins. Or does Jenkins not make the list? How come Jenkins doesn't have a 1 next to him? Is that a 0 for John Jenkins?
It looks like a 0. But you put his name there with no number. That's kind of funny. I like it. Oh, but speaking of Mike Green, do you have anybody else that you want to talk about? Because I want to talk about Mike Green.
Go right ahead.
Okay, let's do that. Jonas Schaefer put up this information on him this morning. He said in his last 2 healthy games, weeks 10 and 12, Mike Green had more total quarterback pressures of 8 than he did over the first 9 weeks of the season, 7. He said here, and then he put up this video. Here are his 4 pressures versus the Jets. He said PFF had him at 5. But he's getting those pressures. I love this move. He blew by that tackle. And then I gotta show that one again. I know we want to finish up here.
Yeah,
but look how he like affects Tyrod Taylor's throw. Like it's not even close. Like boom, it hits him as he throws, and that ball isn't even close where the receiver can get it. Yeah. Okay, here he comes again. What move we got this time? Oh, just a bull rush. Oh, spins out of it. Oh, that's the one where he helped Draymond. Draymond was holding into the pocket where there was more pressure. Sorry. Well,
Tyrod should have been sacked 3 or 4 more times than he was yesterday, and Roquan knows that. Others in this defense know that. Yep.
Roquan should have had him.
And at 36, to your point, he was still showing some mobility there. But you know what, Mike, to kind of go back to what you were saying, Mike just is looking a lot more comfortable.
He's going to need to do spin moves or like speed moves to get past him. Like he pushed him right into Tyrod and had his tackle step on his feet. Sorry, I'll finish your thought.
No, it's just fun to see him kind of showcase what we know is that varied arsenal that he has, as a skilled up rusher. Heard all about it over the summer, of course, from Chuck Smith. And so I just think they're going to hopefully continue to add to his workload, and he's responding well. So good for him. And, good for the pass rush potentially if Tavius Robinson can get back at some point here in the near future. Brian McFarland noting, Ravens salary cap analyst, friend of the show on X, that he went on IR over the bye. And this was actually, I had this.
I just brought it in because I asked the question last night. I was like, when is he coming back? So I was like, oh, that's what I saw. It was Brian McFarland before the Jets game saying that he'd be eligible to return after the Jets game. So that's something to watch. I don't know that he's healthy. I just know that he's eligible. So it's something to watch this week.
Yeah, cool. There'll be a number of things to watch in the health department this week. Obviously, Lamar, will he take, on a short week, how's he going to handle things? And then after that, how does Kyle Hamilton walk out of a game in which he hobbled off with what looked to be a lower body, ankle, knee, somewhere in that area? A lesser impact here, but Taven Bryan hobbled off the field. Where's Bateman at with his recovery with the high ankle sprain? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here for, as much as we just talked about the big news there, the trio of news for Cincinnati's sake.
Yeah.
Burrow probably going to play. T not going to play. Trey not going to play. The Ravens have their own fair share of more than a trio of guys that we're going to be watching closely.
The biggest of all is just Lamar not being 100%.
Yeah.
But another quick hit here. Mike Garafolo reporting this morning that the New Orleans Saints, are working out veteran kicker Justin Tucker today. He's obviously finished serving his 10-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy stemming from those allegations that we covered extensively over the offseason. But we always knew that he was going to get a chance. We always knew that a team would be struggling at the kicker position, and his track record puts him in the puts him into where teams would be wanting to bring him in like the Saints are doing. So we knew this day was going to come.
This is also a 2-player workout, just to be clear. So Justin wasn't the only guy that was brought in. It was also Cade York. So 2-player tryout. Saints are obviously, if not already, close to being out of the playoff contention and playoff race mathematically. So it wouldn't be for, competing for a legitimate postseason berth, but an opportunity to get back into the league. And to your point, that those 10 games have been served. So you knew this was going to absolutely happen in today's NFL. And you brought in some snap count stuff, as we always do, from Jeff the morning after a game.
Yeah, so obviously there was a bump for Devontae Walker. He and DeAndre Hopkins kind of sharing snaps there. I think DeAndre had more than Devontae's, but Devontae's getting that bump, and he did make that big catch. What was that? Was that for like 20 yards? Was that 30?
30.
30. Yeah.
Yep.
Big one for him. Obviously, Emory Jones was active but didn't play. So if they're like easing him in, I would imagine that if they do end up letting him play, that maybe they would do a rotation like they have in the past and just see how he plays. Draymond Jones, he led all the outside linebackers in snaps. I love how you're trying to read the small print there. Teddy Buchanan played a ton of snaps. Busy day for him. Marlon Humphrey played 100% of the defensive snaps in his first game back from that finger surgery. So,
man, that punch out. There was what was it? 21.
Was it a punch out or was it a rip out? It felt like a rip out.
Yeah, I mean, there's been better, more signature punches of his. What was it? 2021. He had like a career year in that department, but he's really perfected it. I mean, when you're running at that kind of speed, and you're in the middle of train wrecks and just bodies flying everywhere, for you to be able to rip a football out of the grasp of somebody like Breece Hall's hands is spectacular. It really is. And Marlon has constantly, that has always been a signature of his, Sarah. You can talk about his issues in coverage over the years. You can talk about some of the lack of durability that he's dealt with in recent seasons from an availability standpoint. What you can never question is his playmaking ability. And the way that he turns games around. I mean, they were inside the 5-yard line. They punched that in a play or two later. That game, ultimately, from an outcome standpoint, might have looked different. You just never know. So good for 44 to manage the pain that I'm sure, or the discomfort that he must have been in playing with a pin in his finger. Why I was wincing at the squinting, I should say, at the computer, was I just wanted to see where Keaton and Justice were. So Justice played 16% of the offensive snaps, and Keaton had 12 offensive snaps, and they each had 3 on special teams. So I was just curious about that. Too bad that Keaton's 35-yarder got wiped off the board due to Tyler's holding.
Kind of a weak holding, but whatever.
You thought so? I thought it was textbook.
I mean, it wasn't the worst, but I thought it was a little weak. Because there's just a lot going on in those trenches that you know what I mean, that could be called, and that's not. But whatever.
Is there anything else in here that should be discussed?
No.
The stat count? Anybody else curious about Pat Ricard? I'm always curious because Pat, missed such a chunk of the season with that calf. They continue to. Where was he at? He was 38%, 24 offensive snaps.
That was?
What's that?
Who did you say that was that you were talking about?
Just Pat Ricard. I've been monitoring that since he got back from the calf.
Gotcha.
Just curious to see how they're handling him and whatnot. So yeah. So that's that. Let's get caught up on more super chats here. Let's see. I think Sudesh dropped in a pair. Yes, he did. Ravens winning streak continues. He also says the Baltimore Ravens are now in first place in the AFC North. Thank you, Sudesh. Yes, sir. You're correct. And Olu is here with a 20 spot, welcoming you back.
Oh, thank you, Olu. It's good to be back. He says, always great when the fog of negativity is lifted with your return.
I set it up as if I wanted to hear from him. Now I don't.
Bobby. You're just a fog of negativity, Bobby. That's what you are,
This
huh?
is good. I hadn't read it yet, as you can see the way I set that. I would have set it up much differently, Olu.
I'm going to start from the beginning because that was fun. He said, welcome back, Sarah. Always great when the fog of negativity is lifted with your return. LOL, he added. Our only problem really is the offensive line play. Well, the other problem is Lamar Jackson's injuries, but yeah.
Are you? Go
What?
ahead. Go.
What?
I'm going to rip Olu in a second. Go ahead.
Okay. He says, we have to just hope we can continue to ride this wave and stack wins. OAN, Bobby SMH.
Olu, you think the offensive line the only issue with this team right now?
Oh, here we go.
Come on, brother. Come on. It might be the biggest issue. It might be one of the sole reasons why Lamar and his health is the biggest issue, but it's not the only issue. Thanks for the super chat. I'll just be in my fog over here
Of negativity. Just so you know, there are people that like your negativity because they're in it too.
I'm not. The goal is to never be negative. That's not. I don't wake up and be like, how can I make our audience today hate me, hate our content, and feel terrible about their team? That's never the goal. Like, I don't wake up and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna, on purpose, go everything against Sarah, go everything against what this audience maybe as a fan would look for on a daily basis. That's never the goal. First of all, what does OAN mean?
I don't know what OAN means.
Do I want to know?
Help us.
There's legitimate. There's a
You know what? You
percentage
should make it
our
your goal. I'd love to see that one day. Yeah, we got New Year's resolutions coming up in a month and a half. That could be one.
there's
Bobby
a
negative.
percentage.
Bobby.
There's a percentage of the VAULTRON community, I think, that truly believes in their heart of heart that's my sole purpose and mission every day.
No, I will say this, but I don't think it's because you don't like the Ravens. You do sometimes seem to talk up the competition, but with the Ravens, you're like, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Even when there's like signs of it. But I don't know if it's just because you're like trying not to you're always trying to, I don't know if you're just trying to like respect the competition or what. But I do think there is an element of that. Like when you talk about the New England Patriots, oh, you just start glowing. Although you do glow for Jordan Stout. There's some glowing there.
I feel like there's glowing in a bunch of different capacities. I swear. I mean, really, this is classic right now. Here comes the live chat. 410, right?
Is coming. The mob is coming.
410 Pyro says Bobby hates the team he covers. It's just like, does he really think that? Do you truly believe that, 410, or are you just kind of piling on this fun little this end off here?
Oh, the Bengals, you do love Joe Burrow. They said that you
I
like
respect Joe Burrow as a competitor.
Drake May, you love. Oh, how about what's his bucket over in Denver? Bo Nix. Aaron Rodgers, you love Aaron Rodgers.
Wait a second. My big thing about Denver preseason, picking them to win the division, which they're in darn good position to be.
Yeah,
things could change.
I'm wrong on that one. Yeah.
Kansas City had to have their win over the Colts this past weekend, which they got. But the whole thing about that was the defense coupled with Sean Payton, young quarterback in Bo, who, by the way, you look at his sample size, as I have sort of from the outside looking in, as we kind of loosely follow other teams, it's been about the defense in Denver this year, not necessarily about Bo. But you guys, you know what? You guys are really something.
I think I'm just having fun with you right now.
Oh, I know. I know.
Laugh,
I think it's hysterical. I genuinely think it's hysterical.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. I have to poke a hole in my own theory. Is I was thinking that you build up the opposition, and you're always like, we'll see. I need to see more from the Ravens. But you would only do that if you were an actual fan and you wanted the Ravens to win. But you say that you don't care. So then I guess I don't understand why you talk up the opposition.
It's funny. In my mind, I don't even feel like I'm I'm talking up. I think that's probably
Oh.
no, I don't. I just try to be as even keel as possible when it comes to the coverage aspect of this. But that's not welcomed by all, especially diehard fans. And I get that.
Okay.
But I guess we wouldn't be
it
having
comes
a crash out quick.
It comes across to me as if you do talk.
We wouldn't be having. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah,
We wouldn't be having a crash out quick hit segment if that weren't the case. So I don't know if I regret it, to be honest with you.
Hey, by the way, we're kind of matching today. Are you like in an olive green? Yours is like a little bit lighter. Mine's a little bit deeper, but we're kind of matching.
Yeah, I guess so. There you go.
I don't know why I like it when we match. I think it looks better on the screen. Maybe we should play. Maybe we should play
more coordination. Let's do it.
There we go. Oh,
Major
Bob,
offense.
Good to be back and just chat with you.
It always is.
Yeah.
And we think about this all the time when we are solo hosting. We simply put cannot do this at the extent of what we bring to you guys on an annual basis without each other. It's just straight up. It cannot happen.
Yeah.
And if it did, if it had to, it would continue, but it'd be hard. And we're always reminded of that.
Yeah.
Without
Every
each other.
time.
So
Every time.
Yep.
For sure.
And for you ridiculous trolls in the live chat, yes, I recognize that JJ McCarthy is Struggle City. When did I anoint him? I didn't.
They said it's good that I like being back to Bully Bobby.
You know what I mean? It's like amazing. Oh, major offense in Devin Conway. You guys are exhausting. Major offense in Devin Conway, brother of Kelsey, who maybe we should hit up this week because it's Bengals week. Appreciate you guys for all the support that you give us through Patreon. This is your monthly shout out.
As they're trolling you, you're like, appreciate your support.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about our patrons right now, to be clear.
Yeah.
All right. Patreon.com/RavensVault podcast. Appreciate you guys as always for the support. And let's get to some super chats before we get on out of here. Fantasy is reality. I think this is JL Green, and he writes, at Olu. Stop it. LOL. We love you too, Bobby.
Yes,
but
we
Sarah's
do.
just a bit more positive, as I think would happen naturally from a fandom standpoint.
Yeah.
Kevin Carver 25 is here.
He says, glad you're back, Sarah. And Bobby held it down while you were out. I know you did. He said, you're great together. It is
my guy, KC. That's my guy, KC. He's running into the burning building for me, baby. That's what you're doing, Kevin Carver.
I'm just pouring fuel on the burning building.
Kevin, I'll follow you into the shadows. Okay. Sarah's going to be throwing grenades into the shadows, and you and I are going in, baby, shoulder to shoulder, mano y mano. This is hysterical. You guys are incredible. Oh, man. Fun Monday. Very fun Monday. I will be live later on if you just want to bask in negativity with me in the 4:00 hour. And I look forward to all of that and more. Thanks to Manta Sleep for the continued support. Thanks to all of you, all 2,700 concurrents at the moment, for being with us on this Monday. Great to have partner back in the saddle as well. If you could on the way out, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. And most importantly, come on back on Tuesday, 12 noon Eastern, here inside the vault. Thanks, VAULTRONs. Catch up with you guys soon.